If you're thinking about raw feeding, but don't want to mess with the stress, this is what worked for us. So I'm Mark, and I want to talk about my experience and my family's experience with Raw Dino. So we just moved to Massachusetts recently, and my dogs are somewhere between 5 and 6, and they started out on a raw diet back where we lived, and then just for a whole host of reasons, we switched to a cooked, home-cooked diet. And now that we're settled in Massachusetts, we wanted to get back to raw. And there were 3 things that really kind of convinced us to go with Raw Dino, and I'm just going to quickly go through those. So raw food. My wife and I are vegan, so our dogs are obviously not vegan. We feed a species-appropriate diet, and we started out with raw with those torpedo tubes. We had a separate knife. We had a separate cutting board. We went through a ridiculous amount of Chinese food in order to get these containers. So we would cut up the tubes and put them in the containers and have them in the fridge, and that's how we would feed them. It was a mess. It was horrible, and it was mess, and it was gross, and I'm measuring with like 2 fingers, and I'm trying to cut. It was terrible. What I really like about Raw Dino, which really put me over the edge between going with their service and going with somebody else, it's containers. Containers with lids. I got 3-pound containers. Depending on the season, that gets me almost 5 meals per dog per container. And it's just, I open it up, I scoop it out, I close it, and I'm done. I'm not sterilizing the kitchen anymore. I don't have to worry about a knife. I don't have to worry about cutting boards and blood everywhere. And it's just, it's a mess. It's a mess, and it's just not for me. The second reason is they come with something very interesting. It's a transition kit. And what that does is that helps, now that we're switching back to raw, those little bellies, they need a little help. So it's a series of varying degrees of this food, but cooked. So it starts off, it's almost fully cooked. And the little containers, you start introducing those to their current food, and slowly over time, it's a little less cooked, a little more raw, and then totally raw. And you keep at varying degrees adding those to their existing food, and it's just a helpful transition to get them from their current diet, whether it's kibble or home cooked like we did, and it gets them to the raw diet. And we didn't have any problems. Their poop was fine. We've been doing this now for probably a few months, and I would have made this review sooner, but we had a vet appointment, got everything checked. I wanted to make sure that everything was looking as it's supposed to, and they got a clean bill of health from the vet, so we're good. What we're doing is right, and it just makes life a lot simpler here. So the third thing is customer service. So when I was looking at a number of different companies, I called Raw Dino, and when I called the phone number, the owner picked up. It's family owned, and that's super important to me, and it's free delivery, which is ridiculous. I order by the case in order to, cut down on costs a little bit, and I have a freezer in my garage. I'm able to store things, and it just makes my life more convenient. If we have subscription services to coffee and vegetables and different things, why not have a subscription service for your dog food? So you're not running out in the middle of a snowstorm. Damn it, I lost track and I didn't get my food. I actually, as I was kind of getting everybody up to speed here, I messed up one of the orders, and I put in too much of one and not enough of the other. And I called the owner, and they fixed it the very next day. Super great, super nice, and I really appreciate that. So those are my 3 things. Those are the 3 reasons that kind of brought me over. It's customer service, it's the transition kit, which I think is pretty cool, and maybe other people have that, but I haven't seen it. And third is the containers, because a messy kitchen that looks like a bloodbath is just not for me.